Hey guys, Kristine here for part 2 of my Man of Steel movie review. I kind of have to apologize for part 1 because I just really don't think it was that good. I filmed it yesterday and I was kind of feeling sick and I couldn't really get into it, but I'm feeling much better today and I really want to talk more about Man of Steel because like I said, I didn't do a good enough job. And Earlier today, I was actually reading some reviews from some different critics, and there are actually a lot of people who didn't like this movie. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why. And before I go any further, spoiler alert, gonna ruin the movie for you if you haven't seen it and you don't like spoilers. Might want to click off the video. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of critics that don't like the movie, and I can't figure out why. It's an amazing, amazing movie. It's basically an origin story for Superman, and, what is his name? Henry Cavill. He is by far the best Superman. He looks the part. By far. There's a really funny part towards the end of the movie. I don't know if it's the very, very end, but I know it's close to the end at least. There's this captain. I think she was a captain in the military anyway. But she's kind of laughing a little bit, and the general asks her what's so funny or something like that. I don't remember exactly what was said, but basically, she thought that Superman was kind of hot, and it's hard to describe it so that you understand, but it was a really, really funny thing. At least to me it was. I thought that part was hilarious, and I completely agree. There's also a part towards the beginning of the movie, after the whole Krypton thing, which Krypton, it starts out on Krypton, and Krypton basically looks like Skyrim. And Jor-El rides some kind of dragon-looking thing with 4 wings, and it was really, really cool. But the movie's awesome. And I noticed in the comments on my part 1 of this that some people didn't quite understand about a comment I made about General Zod killing Jor-El. So what happened was Jor-El and his wife put Superman, or Kal-El, in this space pod thing, and they set it to launch, and they directed the flight path for it to go to Earth. They had already picked out Earth, and they were sending him to Earth. So General Zod and Jor-El were fighting, and Jor-El really had the upper hand. He was, really kicking his butt. So then the pod is being launched, and while it's being launched, Jor-El is distracted. He's watching it launch, and that's when General Zod takes his cheap shot and knifes him, basically. So that's how that happened. I noticed some people in the comments didn't understand that. And from there, it goes to Clark as an adult doing some different odd jobs. There's a part where he's working on a boat, actually, like a fishing boat. And there's a oil rig that's on fire, and they're supposed to be going to help, and he just disappears off of this boat, and he, basically, it's assumed that he flies over there. They don't show him fly over there, but that's, what they're assuming. So he flies over there, he saves everybody, hooray, hurrah, that was great. I'm really not giving it justice by saying that, but the movie is over 2 hours long, and you know what? There were critics complaining about the length of this movie. I don't care. They're crazy. This movie was awesome. I don't care what anybody says. I loved Man of Steel. And there's nothing I would change about it. Nothing. I think they did it was perfect. Exactly what I had hoped for and more. But anyway, back to my point. So, it does skip from basically when he's a baby to when he's an adult, but throughout the rest of the movie, there's kind of flashbacks, like he's remembering his childhood. So you really don't miss out on anything because it does do the flashbacks, and I really like the way it did that. Because really, if you think about it, if you're going through and actually watching Clark Kent as a kid, there's probably a lot that's going to be really boring. So I really like the way they did the flashbacks. There was one flashback where he was on a bus and the bus driver they were on a bridge and the bus driver started to crash and they went off of the bridge into some water, and Clark Kent saves the day. He goes out the back door of the bus and pushes the bus up onto land, and then he goes back out there and brings up one of the guys that I guess basically fell out of the bus. So I don't really know how he fell out. I guess maybe he fell out the back door. Not sure. Or maybe he climbed out. I don't know. But it was the guy that had been picking on Clark. So that was kind of interesting, kind of funny in a way. So anyway, after that, there's a part where, he's kind of in the north. It's this Arctic-looking landscape, and he finds a ship that is from Krypton, and he's got this, I don't know what it's called. It's like a key that's got his family crest on it. And by the way, if you didn't know, his family crest means hope, and I think that is so cool. That's awesome. Thumbs up. Just epic movie all around. But when he puts the key in on this ship, it actually sends out a beacon, and that's how General Zod finds him on Earth. That's how he knows what planet to go to. And so that's where you get, General Zod coming in to terrorize everybody, basically. You get General Zod's message, which you saw in trailers, basically. There's a little bit more to it than that, but that's basically it. And then Superman does, he does turn himself over to the government so that the government can turn him over to General Zod so that he will save mankind. And here's the funny thing. While they've got him in custody, well, actually, let me back up a little bit. He agrees to give himself up to the government, but he says that the only condition is basically that they have to bring Lois Lane to him. He wants to talk to her. So that's kind of funny. I like that. And he's like hovering up here, and they're like on the land down here, and so he's talking down to them as he's giving himself up. So that was totally funny. I think, a lot of people complain about the movie not having comedy in it, but in my opinion, it did have just the right amount of comedy. You did have some moments in there where it was funny, and I loved that. I don't want to watch a Superman movie that's just a big joke and laughs the whole time. I mean, that's not my Superman. This is my Superman. This is my kind of Superman movie. It had, just the right amount of comedy. It had, explosions galore. It had fighting. Like I said, there's nothing I would change about this movie. The critics that say there's a problem with it, they're crazy. Just pay no mind to them. Give them absolutely no credit. They are just nuts. I mean, check out the box office Monday morning. Let's see how much Superman makes in its first weekend. Because I think it's already over 100 million or close to 100 million or something like that. But it's awesome. But back to the point I was making about the government. When Superman turns himself in, they've got this part where Superman is, he's talking to Lois Lane, and they're in this room, and Superman has handcuffs on, and Lois Lane is kind of, surprised by this, and she's like, "You let them handcuff you?" And he's like, "Well, it's just kind of funny." I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was funny. But the part that I was talking about was, he kind of gets aggravated about the guys from the government because they're on the other side of this mirror thing, the two-way mirrors where you can see in but they can't see out, basically. He's behind this, and he's aggravated at them because he's got his X-ray vision. He can see what they're he can see who all's over there and how many and all this. And he says this. He says, "You fear me because you can't control me, but you won't, and you never will. But that doesn't mean I'm your enemy." Man, I love that quote. Like, I don't know if I got the quote exactly right, but that's extremely close to it, if not exactly. But I thought that was awesome. I loved Superman saying that. He's just like, I'm turning myself into you, but that doesn't mean that, I'm letting you control me by any means. I'm still in control. And he, before he says this, he breaks the handcuffs like it's nothing. It's just like it's tissue paper. And it's done. I thought that was awesome. And then whenever General Zod's there, General Zod, he has all this machinery stuff, basically ships and things, and he tries to terraform Earth. Basically, he's trying to turn Earth into Krypton. And that was really cool. I have to say, the bad guys in this movie were even awesome. But actually, I think I mentioned this in part 1 of this video, I actually liked Faora more than I liked General Zod. Not to say that I don't like General Zod. I think he did an excellent job. I'm going blank on the actor's name, but I do think that he did a phenomenal job. A lot of people said that he was just a regular actor for the part, but like I said, they're crazy. They're crazy. He did a phenomenal job. Every time you see General Zod, he just looks like he's completely lost it. He's nuts. Just absolutely crazy. But it was exactly what he needed to be. Because you find out in this movie, one of the things about it is that Kal-El is supposed to be the first natural birth for Kryptonians. He's supposed to be the first natural birth in centuries. And so what you figure out is that all of the other Kryptonians were, basically they were designed to be what they are. General Zod was, he was genetically coded to protect Krypton at all costs. And so that's what was programmed into him to do. He had no free will, basically. And that's what all the Kryptonians were. And the reason that, Jor-El was able to, get, he was able to think and everything and know that he needed to save, Kal-El and everything, that was because Jor-El was a scientist. And if he didn't have, free thinking, well, then he wouldn't be much of a scientist. So that totally made sense to me after I, watched the movie. It left me no questions. I can't wait to see another one. And there's also this part, I know I'm making this video long, but Superman deserves it. Whenever they're terraforming, or trying to, anyway, it's basically like he sends this, I don't know exactly what it is, this blue beam from one side of the planet to the other side of the planet, and goes all the way through the core of Earth. And that's what General Zod is doing. And, basically you've got Superman on one side of the Earth, and he's going to stop it from that side. And then on the other side, you've got Colonel Hardy, who is played by an actor that I really like. It's Christopher, I think his name is Maloney. I don't know, I might have said that wrong. But he's from Law and Order Special Victims Unit, and so I think that's kind of cool. But anyway, so that's Colonel Hardy, and see, earlier, Faora and Colonel Hardy had been fighting, and Faora was just about to kill him. Superman saves him, but she was just about to kill him, and she says to him, "A good death is its own reward." And I liked it the first time it was said, but then, at this point, whenever the terraforming is going on, then Colonel Hardy is flying this plane or ship or whatever, and Faora is on the plane, and she's about to kill him. Well, she thinks she is anyway. But he, in order to stop the terraforming, he crashes his ship that he's flying, because that's what he was there to do anyway, not crash the ship. But he had the spaceship or the, space pod thing that Superman came to Earth in, he had it on his ship and he was going to drop it onto this terraforming thing and thereby implode it basically and destroy it. Well, he couldn't do it, so he crash lands his ship into it and kills them all. But right before he actually crashes down, he turns to Feora and says the same thing, "A good death is its own reward." And I think that's my favorite quote out of the movie. "A good death is its own reward." I just thought that was really cool. Like, the circumstances that it was said under. I loved that Colonel Hardy had a chance to say it back to Feora. Feora was really tough in this movie. I mean, you see her, like, killing people left and right and, like, snapping somebody's neck on the plane. It's just really cool. But after Superman gets done, stopping the terraforming, basically, there is a really awesome fight between Superman and Zod. And the way the fight ends is spectacular. You really see Superman's battle because he doesn't want to have to kill, Jor-El and Zod because he is one of his own people. It's another Kryptonian. He doesn't want to have to kill him. But, General Zod, he's got his, laser beams and his heat vision basically, and he is about to kill this innocent family. And Superman tries to stop him, and he can't make him not do it, so he basically had no choice. He had to kill Zod in order to save this innocent family, and so he just snaps his neck, and he just falls, and that's all there is to General Zod. He's done. So that's how the fight ends, and I thought that was great. It was kind of like, oh, he died just by snapping his neck, but it was so cool. I loved that, you got to see that, like, inner struggle Superman had, and the entire movie was phenomenal. Like, there was no talking, like, by anybody in the theater, because everybody was just absolutely glued to the screen. It was just phenomenal movie. Now, I will say this, it was loud, but what movie in a theater is not loud? And there's also a couple of things that if you go see the movie, you'll notice, or you may notice, you may not even notice it, but there is at least one. Some people have said there's more than one. I only saw one, but there probably is more than one. I did see a LexCorp truck. LexCorp, like Lex Luthor, that's his company, LexCorp. And there's also at the end, whenever Superman and General Zod's fighting, they they're fighting around a satellite. And if you look closely, you can see that the satellite says Wayne Enterprises on it. Wayne as in Bruce Wayne, as in Batman. So I thought that was great too. It's like, I don't know how to... This movie was phenomenal. Like I said, ignore the critics that say it's bad. If anybody has anything bad to say about Man of Steel, just completely ignore them and be like, oh, you don't matter. You're irrelevant. Superman, Man of Steel, perfection for a superhero movie. Like, I think this is my favorite superhero movie of all time. Now, if they come out with a Superman 2, kind of like the next one, that might top it. I don't know. But this one right now is the best movie that I've seen in a long time. And if I had to give it a rating out of 10, I would probably say it's like a 15. It's phenomenal on every level. Anything you want to judge it on, whether it be characters or script or just, cinematics, everything. Phenomenal. Anyway, I think I've talked long enough considering this video is like 20 minutes long. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this movie review because I had a lot of fun filming it. And please subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll do some more movie reviews. Let me know in the comments if there's any movies you want me to review. So anyway, like I said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.